Bowe Bergdahl being handed to Americans right here as you're looking at that, right toward the chopper.
You see one of his captors, I assume, with the white flag stick on a stick, retro 1770, comes out and hands over Bowe Bergdahl in full, I guess, regalia of that region. He gets walked into a chopper, and as you see a close-up of his face, you can see, number one, either he's not used to the light, or it's the sand or something. He's having trouble seeing and negotiating as he gets onto a plane.
We should point out this is Taliban propaganda video from the Taliban website. What's curious about this, and when you watch all 3 minutes of it, is at one point Bowe Bergdahl is actually seen, it looks like he's kind of laughing or joking around with some of the Taliban guys. If you notice, he walked all the way from the pickup truck to the helicopter, and there you can see it takes off. And what's curious about it, and there he is right there, he's waiting for the Black Hawk to show up. What's interesting about this is there's an item in the Wall Street Journal today that talks about, obviously, somebody at the White House was trying to spin this story. One of the reasons we had to do the Taliban trade was because he was essentially about ready to drop dead.
That's what the administration's saying.
Yeah, and today what they say is there was a video that came out in December of 2013 that showed that his rapid deterioration is what they were referring to. But then you see, and much to the White House dismay, you've got the Taliban putting this video out that shows that he is not about to drop dead. And Bowe Bergdahl looks okay.
Looks able there, according to many, and eyes looking at it right now. Video also showed those that were released from the Taliban, those 5 very high-ranking officials there being released in Qatar with some music being played in the background if you watch it in its entirety.
So you see that Congress is extremely upset. They're saying, wait, why did you bypass us again? The Pentagon's saying, why'd you bypass us? The National Intelligence Director saying, why'd you bypass us? It seems like the White House did this thing entirely on their own. To the point where they actually apologized to the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Dianne Feinstein, who was a little upset. The only person that was told but was confused on what day he was told was Senator Harry Reid. So this was brought up before a couple of years ago. Everybody nixed it. Leon Panetta nixed it. And guess who else nixed it? Thought it was a bad idea. Hillary Clinton.
She certainly did. And in 2010, they actually did find out in an investigation that Bergdahl did willfully walk off base. 2 senior officials are telling Fox News that. And also, in order to establish him as a deserter, in quotes, they have to establish intent, which they most likely will do once he returns from Germany, being treated for health, and try to get down to the bottom of why he left the base willfully in the first place.
So because right now the military is keeping him out of view, he is at that military hospital in Landstuhl, Germany. We can't see him, although we just saw him from just a couple of days ago. Meanwhile, it's interesting, his team leader, Bowe Bergdahl's team leader, a fellow by the name of Sergeant Evan Butow, was on television yesterday. And it's curious because he was talking about how shortly after Bowe Bergdahl went missing, a couple of Afghan kids saw an American crawling through the reeds. All right, they saw some guy. I don't know how many Americans there might have been in that neighborhood, but it was probably this guy. And then there was a lot of chatter on the radio where an American was looking for somebody in the Taliban who could speak English. That's curious. Here's his commander.
Looking for someone who spoke English so he could talk to the Taliban. And when we heard that, it told us, okay, he's actively seeking out the Taliban. Following his disappearance, IEDs started going off directly under the trucks. They're getting perfect hits every time. Their ambushes were very calculated, very methodical, like they knew what we were going to do. Obviously, there's no way to prove that Bergdahl was feeding them that information. At least I cannot do that. He knew our tactics. He knew exactly how we react to certain things.
But the timing, but the timing is unbelievable too. So Martin Dempsey, I'm sure.
Gigantic.
Martin Dempsey, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, says, "Hey, we're going to have a full investigation as soon as he's healthy." I actually think, in many ways, whether Bergdahl's a traitor or regardless of who he is, and obviously this pass warrants a thorough investigation. He's basically listed as deserter. The people that were working with him, serving with him, all seem to conclude that. But you could stay at home and be a little bit, maybe think this is all political spin. The bottom line is, I'm worried about the 5 guys that are back in the fight. We reestablished the war cabinet of the Taliban. And is Bowe Bergdahl's life worth more than the other Americans that more than likely will face their demise because of the planning of now a war cabinet from which was once a sitting evil government that is back intact?
And as we look at this video right here that was released a couple of days ago, this is when the 5 Taliban guys got to Qatar. That essentially is as strict a security situation as they're going to be in. They're apparently all living now in a residential compound with their families, and the only requirement is that they stay in the country. Remember, we heard the president say, you know, there's a mechanism in place so that we can keep eyes on them. That is baloney. Essentially, just like the Southwest Airlines commercial, you are now free to roam around the country. They can go anywhere they want to in Qatar.
But
is there going to be trouble? Well, you gotta think there could be.
Most likely, and look out too for Hillary Clinton's response to this. Indeed, if 2016 goes forward, she may have this to bear on her shoulders. But you know, who are you listening to here, right? Who do you believe when it comes to the character of this man? Sure, we should get our own back, but at what cost? The families of those that sacrificed their lives to look for him certainly upset over this,
sure.
And also those on the ground who were with him saying that he had intent to leave. That you will end up finding it sooner or later. We were with him and we know, but yet the State Department says, no, we don't have those facts. It doesn't matter.
Listen to this. Unbelievable.
According to those around him, his platoon mates, his squad mates, company mates, they said he walked off
Some
the
of
base.
them, there are conflicting reports out there about this.
The guys on national television last night, his squad mates, platoon mates were not correct.
I'm saying we don't know the fact pattern yet here. We don't. Nobody knows exactly what happened that night.
I think that his squad mates have the best indication what
I don't
happened
think
that
that's the case.
That's Lucas Tomlinson again. And how familiar does that sound? Yeah, don't listen to the guys on the ground. Wait a minute. That's what we did in Benghazi. Remember?
Those are the guys on the ground that you have to listen to when it comes to planning attacks, executing attacks, and protecting the freedom of our nation and others, yet you disregard their account when it comes to this.
Nobody knows. The White House is out on a limb right now. The president's comments yesterday were unbelievable in saying, yeah, they could go back to the fight. What can you tell? What can you do about it?